What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is doing well, and what a game, what a game. I'm sure most of us walk away from this one sad, mad, frustrated because the Celtics lose tonight to the defending champion Denver Nuggets, the final score being 102 to 100, and that snaps the Celtics 20-game home win streak, and that officially crushes the dreams of the Celtics going 41-0 at home. This was an interesting game because the Celtics hit some markers that usually signify a win. Only 2 turnovers for the entire game, won the offensive rebounds, won the transition battle, and played with good energy. So what went wrong? The main thing that stood out to me throughout the game was the shot selection. I mean, your 2 best players in Tatum and Brown combined for 2 for 17 from 3. That happens, you probably won't be winning too many of those games, but the thing about those 17 threes is that they weren't terrible looks. A few bad ones sprinkled in here or there, but it's hard to blame those guys, especially Tatum, because we have a really good sample size in the past month, this month of January, where he's shooting 50% from 3. And usually when we talk about Tatum and Brown settling, we also talk about their lack of aggression when getting to the rim, specifically Tatum. Those two sometimes go hand in hand, but even that was there tonight. I thought Tatum got to the rim when he wanted to, but there was a little bit too much foul baiting, and he just smoked some bunnies. Besides the shot selection from JT and JB, what else went wrong? I know there was probably some PTSD for Celtics fans here watching that crunch time execution, and of course I wasn't a fan of it either. You had JB missing those 2 free throws, which whatever, it happens, but then you had that flurry of offensive rebounds, the second and third chances where you just had JB and Derek chuck up threes, and I don't know, at that point it's like, read the room, these haven't been falling, let's get to the rim a little bit. So after those misses, we're at a point here in the game where Aaron Gordon is at the free throw line. He makes the first and misses the second, but also on that second miss there is a double lane violation, which leads there to be a jump ball at center court. Celtics win the jump ball, and then Joe calls a timeout with about 17 seconds to go. The first play coming out of the timeout was for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown catches the ball, gets to his right hand. Aaron Gordon kind of shuts that down. JB kicks it out, the ball gets passed around. Joe calls another timeout with about 5 seconds to go. And then the second play coming out of the timeout was to isolate JT in the mid-range. JT catches the ball, wasn't the cleanest catch, off balance, turns around, shoots it. It honestly wasn't even close. KCP played some good defense as well. Honestly, I didn't have a huge issue with the shots because when you see a last second shot come about from perfect X's and O's, it usually is, you just throw it to your best player and he creates for himself. But I do think there are ways for the Celtics to diversify that last second shot, especially with the personnel that they have. And I think we all know the answer to that, and it's to utilize the 7'3" guy you acquired this offseason for moments like this. You gotta get Kristaps involved. He is one of the most efficient players in the NBA. He is having a historic post-up season, averaging 1.43 points per post-up. That's the 97th percentile. When you throw it to him, it's a mismatch almost every single time. I really don't like how in some of these games he fades out and he's so uninvolved, and I don't think it's necessarily his fault. But tonight, right, he had 19 points in the first half, finishes with 21. Like, that's just inexcusable. In the early days of the season when KP was uninvolved late in games, I gave an excuse. I was like, okay, these core guys, Jalen and Jason, or more Jason, hasn't really had a guy like this he can go to, so maybe he's just not used to it yet. But it's 41 games into the season, and just to see, there's that 2-man connection between JB and KP, but JT needs to do a better job of looking for Kristaps. It makes his life easier. You don't always need to be the hero. Brad put these guys around you to make your life easier. It's malpractice not to use Porzingis in a situation like this. You know what? Maybe it's not all Tatum's fault. Maybe it's a little bit of Joe too. Joe has to get involved. He has to set the precedent. I hate doing episodes where it feels like we're just going around passing out blame, but we do have to mention Drew Holiday. The team was just significantly worse when he was on the floor tonight, and that's just based on the eye test. You look at the box score, he was in -12, and it's funny because if anybody listened to the last post game, I did like 2 full minutes on Drew talking about how great he was, how amazing he is becoming and fitting into this system, especially offensively. But tonight, man, I don't know what it was. He was completely uninvolved on that side of the floor. All his shots came out of rhythm. And then on the defensive end, when he was in the game, Joe was running that zone with him, and Drew's supposed to be the commander of that, right? But Denver just kind of tore that up, and there's a lot of miscommunications, and Joe recognized that, and as a result of that, we got a lot of double big, a lot of Allen Kristaps. Luke got some minutes, and those guys didn't play too bad. That lineup combination, it worked for what it was, but at the end of the day, the size didn't matter for Jokic. He just had his way in the mid-range, cooked us 34, 12, and 9, and that's the weird thing about this game. Like I said earlier, the Celtics checked off a lot of boxes that made it seem like this was going to be a win. Only 2 turnovers, more points at the rim, more threes made, but the Denver Nuggets won this game, or Murray and Jokic won this game in the mid-range. Absolutely ate there. I don't know how that's going to make analytic nerds feel, but that's just the reality of the game. While the Celtics three-point shot kind of ebbed and flowed, the Denver Nuggets just banged 2 after 2 after 2 after 2. They shot 62% on 40 mid-range jumpers. But I guess that's what the analytics are about, right? Because the 3-ball is worth more over a long period of time. Throughout your whole entire season, it's worth more, but within a game, maybe a few possessions, that 2-ball could really do some damage, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. Overall, though, I'm not too upset about this game. You lose to the defending champs, but you also hold them to 102 points. JT and JB, they don't quite play up to expectations, but at the same time, the Denver role players didn't play so great, so there's a little bit of give and take there. You know, for as long as I've been watching the Celtics, almost 20 years now, yes, I'm gonna date myself again, the main thing that I look for in these losses, especially with this core group, is the effort, and the effort was there tonight. So when that's there, I don't leave these losses too upset. I know everybody's biggest concern leaving this is going to be the crunch time offense, and I get that, but I truly believe the personnel that we have, the new guys we acquired in Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, is really going to help us, and it's going to come together, and we're already seeing it, right? Maybe not in those last 30 to 24 seconds, but in crunch time, statistically, games 5 minutes to go, decided by 5 points or less, this team is a better team than last year. But yes, guys, the Celtics do lose tonight to the Denver Nuggets, 102 to 100, and that snaps the Celtics 20-game home win streak. But listen, that does not mean the Celtics are frauds, or that JT and JB can't play together, or that JT isn't that guy. Everybody just needs to calm down, relax. Ready? Breathe in, breathe out. Everything's gonna be all right, okay, everybody? But anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up right there. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. It's the best and easiest way to support. I'm here after every single Celtics game, all 82 plus. I'm not going anywhere. Maybe 81. I missed one, I can't lie. But I'll talk to you guys Sunday, January 21st. Ime Udoka in the Houston Rockets. Peace.